Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. The case that I'm going to be looking into today is the mysterious disappearance of Zebb Quinn, and it's a bit of a strange one. Like, it's now believed to be solved, but then we're still waiting on the case. There's a lot of unanswered questions in this one. In my opinion, like, not everything ties up, and you'll see as we get through it. It happened back in 2000, and he was 18 when he went missing. This case was suggested by Don, so thank you for that. I appreciate any suggestions you guys have, and of course if you have any more, please do let me know. Zebb Wayne Quinn was born on the 12th of May in 1981 to mother Denise. I could not find anything on his father, unfortunately. I have no idea what his name is. I don't know if that's just me or, you know, whether the just information isn't out there. Regardless, what I did find was that he also had a sister called Brandy. Zebb was described as being really hard-working and a very responsible young guy. He worked at Walmart at the time of his disappearance in the electronics department, which he absolutely loved. It was a job that he was very passionate about, and his mum even said that he often spent more time at Walmart than he actually did at home. Zebb did struggle to fit in due to a disability that he did have, but he never let that stop him. He had his close-knit little group of friends, and he had his hobbies and everything that he would enjoy to do, and so yeah, okay, sometimes he didn't fit in, but that didn't matter at all to him. Now we go to that fateful day. It was a Sunday on the 2nd of January in 2000. Zebb had been at Walmart working his shift like he normally would. He worked really, really hard, and he was actually trying to save up for a new car. So, you know, he was doing all the hours that he could and just putting all his money together to get a new car. On this day in particular was when he was going to see a new used car that he actually wanted to purchase. So he finishes his shift at 9 p.m. His friend Robert Jason Owens actually comes to Walmart to meet him because they had planned to go and look at this car together. Now, Robert is often, I think he's more commonly known as Jason, so that is how I'm going to refer to him in this video. Zebb's co-workers remember seeing the pair leave together. They both went in their separate cars, and then they ended up driving to a gas station about 9:15, I believe, so it was only 15 minutes away. They stopped for drinks and things. Then they get back in the cars again, and off they set off again to go and meet this person for this used car. Now, apparently, at some point during the journey, this is what Robert said happened. Let me just slide that in there. You know, this is his recollection of events. So Zebb ends up flashing the lights on his car to try and get him to stop. So Jason pulls over, and Zebb is like, he says that he's got this urgent page. Now, they never had mobile phones or anything between them, and so pager was a way of contacting him, and he couldn't reply to it, so they suggest going to a gas station so that he can use a payphone, which is what they do. Jason apparently waits by the car, and off Zebb goes. When he comes back, he's really, really agitated, and he's in such a rush. He says that he's got to go, he can't meet this woman. He jumps in his car, and he ends up rear-ending Jason's car. Now, he obviously, like, apologizes, says that I'll give you my details tomorrow, but for now I really need to go, and they agree to do that, and off he goes. Now, Jason did actually end up later on in A&E, but it wasn't because of that. It was because of a different crash that he said that he had later on. He ended up with 4 fractured ribs and a head injury, I believe, but it was nothing to do with Zebb, apparently. This was the last time that Zebb will be seen alive again, the last time that he was caught on any footage or anything like that. So that's the last time that Jason said he saw him. The last time that he was actually seen, physically seen by the camera, CCTV, was on that gas station footage when they bought drinks. And at this point, Denise has been trying to get hold of Zebb for a while. You know, he is not answering his pager, and so she decides that she's getting a bit worried, so she goes ahead and rings Walmart. He spent a lot of time there. You know, she often said, as I've said before, that he was there more than he was home. So maybe he just decided to stay late or work overtime or, you know, whatever. She rings Walmart and they confirm that no, he actually did leave his shift at 9 p.m. is when he clocked out. So he's gone. So then she thinks, well, maybe he's gone with friends and he just hasn't messaged me and let me know. She calls around a few friends and things, and they don't know where he is either. She doesn't get any answers by 10:30 p.m. that night. She keeps paging him. You know, she's trying to contact all these different people to find out where her son is, and she gets nothing at all. She stays up all night trying and trying to page her son. The next afternoon, after not hearing anything off him all of that time and not being able to get hold of him or find out where he was, she calls the police and reports him as missing. On the Tuesday, which was then the 4th of January, 2 days later, Zebb was supposed to do a shift at Walmart, and Walmart received this phone call. His supervisor, Patty King, was on shift and gets this phone call, and apparently it was Zebb who was calling in sick. Now, she knew Zebb. She knew that that was not him. So she was very suspicious straight away, and she began asking this person questions, trying to keep them on the line and asking them questions about the shift and the information that Zebb, had it been him, would have known. Well, this caller did not know any of this information. They eventually hung up, and she used dial back to call this person back. I believe it's *67 there. She ended up going through to a local construction company, and lo and behold, that was actually where Jason worked. So of course the police went to go and question him. And again, he told his story. The story that I've already told you guys, that, you know, Zebb left that night and he's not heard anything since. He said that he did make that phone call into Walmart. He was pretty much caught red-handed on that, but he said it was on Zebb's behalf. So he must have told him that before he vanished or something. I don't know, but yeah, he said that Zebb told him to do it and that he hasn't seen Zebb since that night. He also confirmed that he went to go and get, you know, drinks from the gas station, which was caught on CCTV, and they did have that. So they didn't have anything else. They didn't have any evidence to tie him into anything. They had, if Zebb, you know, was unfortunately deceased, they didn't have a body, they didn't have anything, and so they couldn't just tie him into anything. The police, of course, were suspicious of him, but without anything, any evidence or anything like that, they just couldn't act on anything. Then came another suspect, Misty Taylor. The police found out that she was a new friend in Zebb's life. They had been having like this texting relationship for quite a while now. They used to call and stuff. Now, she did have a boyfriend, and she also had a child, which Zebb knew about, but they were in this texting relationship kind of thing. I believe it was just a few weeks before he actually went missing that this started. And his family didn't really agree with it, but again, it's not anyone's decisions but Zebb's and Misty's, I guess. And on one occasion, he even took the family truck to go and, without permission, to go and take Misty and her child out on like an outing day trip, something like that. So where it actually fits in with the case, on New Year's Eve, 3 days before Zebb actually went missing, Misty told him in a conversation that they were having that her boyfriend had actually found out about him and about their phone calls and their secret relationship that they were having, which obviously isn't good news. So the police questioned Misty. They asked where she was on the night of the 2nd when Zebb went missing. She said that she was home with a boyfriend, her child, her parents, along with Zebb's estranged aunt, who was called Ina Eustich. Again, apologies if I've said that wrong. I'm not very good with pronunciations, but she was his aunt on his father's side, and again, we don't know much about his father. Denise said that he had no contact with anyone on that side, so, you know, he didn't speak to this aunt, didn't speak to any family member on the dad's side. I find it a bit weird how it all ties in. Like, Misty's boyfriend, who was apparently abusive and threatening, you know, finds out about Zebb 3 days before he goes missing, and then his aunt, who he never actually speaks to, is also at Misty's house. Like, how does she even know them? I believe that her family were going into business with his aunt, but it's just some weird, like, coincidences of how they're all there and he's gone missing, and I just found it so strange. Police looked into the leads around Misty, around her boyfriend, sorry, you know, but that didn't also go anywhere. They had no connections, they had no evidence once more, and so there wasn't much they could do. Then they began to look into who had actually paged Zebb that night. They traced it back to none other than his aunt's house, which again is super strange. Now, when they went and spoke to her, she told the same story, that she was at Misty's house that night with all them family members. She wasn't even home. But she did actually recall that she believed somebody had been in her house that night and that they had moved some things around but not actually taken anything. So she claimed that she didn't actually message him on that pager, but I did read as well that it was later confirmed that she did. So, you know, I don't really know. There's a lot of questions in this case that are just confusing to me, and it's just, I just find it strange. I don't know what the page was about. I have no idea, but apparently she did send it, even though she's claiming that she had missed his, and I don't know. I've also read elsewhere that it was not confirmed that she actually sent it at all. So it could be either or. You know, take it as you will. I do not know which is correct, therefore I've put them both in. Police were obviously looking into everything they could, but they just didn't find anything. And then they got a new lead on the 6th, which was a few days after he'd gone missing. It was of a woman that Denise actually worked with. She was a nurse at the hospital. Denise was a nurse at the hospital. I'm not sure of this woman's occupation, but I know that she worked at the hospital. And she used to go to high school with Zebb, and she recognised his car in the parking lot of a barbecue restaurant, which was adjacent to the hospital. So obviously she must have been looking out one day, knowing that he was missing, and I don't know, seeing it. So the police go over and they find this car. It is in fact Zebb's Master Prateek, and it was in that parking lot, and when they looked inside they found some pretty strange things. First of all, on the back windshield there was a pair of lips drawn with an exclamation mark, and it looked like it was done in lipstick. Now, one of the more strange things for me is that they found a Labrador puppy in the front seat. It was still alive. Why on earth it was in there, I have no idea. They found a few drinks, a jacket that did not belong to Zebb, along with a hotel key. But apart from that, there was no evidence, no DNA, nothing that would spark anything new in his case. It was speculated that people really did think maybe that puppy was put in that car on purpose. In the front seat, that car was taken to that restaurant opposite from where his mother works at the hospital, so that it could be found, basically, and to try and put attention onto it. The police then received a tip from a couple that had actually seen Zebb's case on the news. Now, they said that they had seen that specific car driving in Asheville a few days before it was actually found. And when the police asked if they had seen who was driving this car, you know, they said yes, that they had. So they did a composite sketch of this person, and it remarkably resembles Misty Taylor, which of course at the time was one of their suspects. The police of course went back to speak to Misty. Again, she just said that, you know, she had no idea what happened to Zebb. She was with family. She wasn't anywhere near where he even vanished. And once more, they didn't have anything on her to link her into it and to be able to warrant an arrest. Oh, let me just say a side note here as well. The Labrador puppy that was found was actually adopted by a police officer. And I just wanted to let you know so that you knew what happened to the puppy. It was adopted by one of them, which I think is really sweet. So the police looked into, you know, they looked into that hotel key card, but they didn't get anywhere with that either. It didn't have a logo on it, and they were going around to, you know, several hotels around the area to try and find information on it, and that was just a dead end too. There was never any evidence to suggest that Ina had anything, his aunt, a strange aunt, had anything to do with his disappearance. And so for years, Zebb's case unfortunately ran cold. Even though Zebb's case ran cold, Jason was in the limelight quite a few times. In 2001, police tried to pull over a car. The driver did not respond, ended up in this high-speed chase thing, ended up shooting at the police, and when they finally did catch this person, it turned out to be Jason Owens. He, was charged with several things and ended up doing 4 years for that. Then, in 2015, so now we're talking 15 years after Zebb's disappearance, Jason Owens was once more arrested for the disappearance, and then it would later turn out to be murder of a woman called Christy Schoen, her husband JT, and their unborn baby. Jason actually pled guilty to these murders and 2 counts of dismembering human remains, but it was as part of a plea deal to basically avoid the death sentence, I believe. He was sentenced on the 27th of April and got 60 and 75 years minimum imprisonment with no possibility of parole. Basically, he said that he'd committed these murders because he had accidentally ran them over. He was having car troubles, they had come over to help, and then somehow he hit them by accident. You know, he panicked, he didn't know what to do, so he got rid of the bodies. But, you know, normally when you're panicking and trying to hide a family that you just killed, you know, you don't generally dismember their bodies, which is what he did. So, yeah. At this point, knowing Jason has literally just murdered a family, you know, they were beginning to suspect that he probably killed Zebb back in 2000, since he was, at the very least, the last person to see them, and now he's committed these murders. You know, it was looking very, very suspicious. It looked suspicious anyway, but now it was just real bad. On the 31st of March in 2015, the police got a search warrant to look through Jason's home. They apparently found a few things. They found fabric, leather, materials, and unknown hand fragments. They didn't release too much on it. They found it under concrete, apparently. They also found numerous plastic bags containing lime, possibly pulverized lime, or a powdered mortar mix. It was never confirmed or denied to be Zebb's remains, so as of this day, we still do not know. So on the 10th of July in 2017, now 17 years after Zebb's disappearance, Jason Owens was indicted on the charge of first-degree murder on Zebb Quinn. So the trial for Jason under Zebb has not yet occurred. I know it was, you know, 2017 isn't that long ago. Trials can take a very long time, but as of 2021, when I am recording this video, he is still awaiting the trial for Zebb. So, you know, a lot of people won't class this case as actually solved until he actually gets found guilty by a jury. We will see. He will never get out of jail anyway on the charges that he already has. But, you know, if he did kill Zebb, which it's looking quite likely, then Zebb needs justice. He needs to, you know, go through trial, and his family should get the justice for their son, for him murdering their son. Maybe they will finally find out what happened to him. You know, if those things that they found in his house were the remains of Zebb, you know, they just might get some answers. But as of yet, we're still waiting on that trial. All the evidence seems to line up as well. Apparently, back in September, not long after he had actually disappeared, a witness came forward to say that they had seen Jason digging a hole around 8 foot by 8 foot, and when questioned, he told this person that it was for a pond. He then filled it with concrete and then filled it with dirt. Now, it was said that it didn't make sense for it to be a pond. It wasn't really in view of Jason and where his house would be and things like that. It was a bit out of the way, and obviously that pond was never finished, and he ended up filling it in anyway. Pond. Let me just put air quotes up there, because it seems more likely that possibly that was where Zebb was buried and where they found those items. Again, there's not much released on that aspect of it because they are waiting for trial. They do want to convict this man. They don't release a lot of information, as you very well know. And so with this case, again, keep your eyes and ears open. Hopefully sometime soon we will get a trial, and when we find out what happens, I will put a pinned comment on this video and let you guys know. So as of yet, like, we've got Jason sort of as the prime murder suspect in this case. We're just waiting for the trial. That it doesn't really answer a lot of the questions in this case that I've had, and I've seen other people have too, because for starters, if that couple were correct and they saw Misty driving Zebb's car, like, how was she involved in it all? Did Jason know them and they were all in cahoots? You know, who knows? Why did his estranged aunt send him that page? It was as if everyone was working together to get him. I mean, obviously that's my speculation, you know. It's just, I found it so weird looking into it, and I'd just like to know what you guys think of it. It's just a very strange case. I'm thankful that he will never get out of prison, at least, but I really do hope that he gets sent down if he did kill Zebb, and we truly find out finally what happened to him fully. But yeah, that is the end of the case. If you guys have enjoyed this video, give me a big thumbs up, subscribe to the channel for similar content. Anyway guys, that's all I have today on the case of Zebb Quinn. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, bye.